Take you to be able to lift your back foot that much in the internal rotation?
Took me a while, bro. When I first started doing this, in fact, you could probably look back either in one of the original Prime videos or old YouTube videos with Dr. Brink, the first time he ever did these with me. And I remember he told me to lift my foot, and I'm like, you can't do that. Like, I just didn't even believe you could move it, you know? And then he grabbed it and he goes, yeah, you can. It's like, and it was so disconnected. Probably a good year of really, really working on it. I mean, I've regressed a little bit too because I've just fallen off a little bit, but it's about a year of just practicing it every day doing combat stretch, doing 90-90s. That's what you guys see is the after me. Like if you go back, I don't know if I have them on my Instagram enough anymore, but when I first started my Instagram page, before Mind Pump started, you could see my squat, and my squat looked like I had like a really wide stance, and that was about my depth. I mean, I couldn't break 90 degrees. It was tough. So, I mean, what you see now where I can get all the way down like that, that's the result of the combat and 90-90 work. Then once I got it, once I could squat down there, now I just had to keep it up. So it's a lot easier now to keep that. Absolutely. That's how I tell people that all the time. Once you get to the place where you can do ass to grass squatting, then just continuing to do that keeps the hips really mobile and strong. It's getting there that is a lot of work. So something that I addressed on the podcast, but not to the YouTube channel, and since there's not a ton of crossover, I've been struggling with a lot of like IT and TFL pain going on, and I think after talking to the boys, I think getting to the bottom of it has a lot to do with just how fast I progress my squat, even in my head, because I 275 pounds on a squat isn't like anywhere near my max load, but considering I was doing 135 4 weeks ago and I've progressed all the way to 275 in a month's time, just progressing that fast didn't give like the ligaments and tendons time to really adapt, strengthen, and support the growth in the muscle. And so I think a mistake that I didn't foresee was causing some issues with my hips because I built that muscle so fast and I progressed the weight. I should have taken it a little easier. So something that I'm going to do in the program right now is back off the heavy loaded squats for a little bit. Today, we're going to focus on deadlifts on the posterior chain. But even when I go back to what would normally be a squat day, I'm probably going to change it out for either Cossack squats or some Bulgarian split squats, something else besides heavy backloaded squats. I need to slow it down a bit. Such a bummer because I was feeling so good. Just got a little overly ambitious. Who do we got, D?
LMNT.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm cracking a can today. We'll get the right? Right? What I need to start having the team do is maybe I can get Jerry. I saw Katrina get a cup of ice. Have you guys tried what I told you guys to do with the grapefruit yet?
No, not yet. Oh, we need an ice machine here.
Yeah, I know, right? I wonder how those things run. Like one of those hotel ones that are really good. Okay, so we're going to deadlift today. Deadlift and arms. Let's get to work. It's been a hell of a couple weeks, man. Not going to lie. This next body fat test coming up, I'm going to be nervous. I don't think I've ever traveled 3 out of the 4 weeks when I'm in the middle of trying to do something like this. I mean, obviously I travel all the time, but trying to show progress and really be dialed, so difficult, flying in different time zones and stuff. So although I expect myself to still have progressed. I definitely don't think we'll see the same kind of progression we saw in the first month, that's for sure. I did my best in Disney World, try to find, I see that turkey leg I had. They sell those turkey legs like the size of my son's head. That was like the best thing I could find that I could eat there.
Is it true that turkey makes you like pretty tired?
No, actually, I actually just read an article on that. They debunked that actually. Is it the tryptophan or whatever that's in it? So, I've been meaning to bring that up on the podcast. Actually, I saw an article that somebody read or wrote that said that the you feeling tired from that, like your big Thanksgiving, has more to do with overeating than it has to do with tryptophan or whatever the hell it is that's inside the turkey. I didn't know that either. I literally just heard that the other day. So funny you asked that. But I think I did all right at hitting my protein intake. What I don't know if I did is hit my calorie goals really well. It was just really tough when you're eating out that many times to be able to calculate everything that you're getting in there. So what I think I'm going to do, so this is supposed to be the end of a week of a cut followed by a 2-week bulk. I think I'm going to run another week of lower calorie meaning around 2,800 to 3,000 for me for another week, because I want to get a full week of home dieting where I'm more confident in what's in the food. Because I don't know if I did that during this Disneyland trip. I think it's just too tough to be sure. Which, by the way, I think that happens to a lot of people that are on diets. Like, I don't think by any means that I ate bad choices or bad food. It's just that you eat out 4 or 5 times in a day in hotels, on airplanes, in airports, and there's just too much room for error and too much room for, oh, that was made in oil or butter, and there's 100 calories there and 200 calories there. To think that I landed right on my calorie mark is highly unlikely. So hopefully we just didn't do too much damage. Take this Aura ring off. That hurts.
Is your training going to change now that you're a professional simulation driver?
Yeah, my training for race car driving is going to take precedence over my body now. We'll see. Get some adductor stuff right now. So this is where we were last time. We'll see how this feels. I do want to be mindful of what I felt in my hips already from squatting. And as much as I want to keep going up, we may stay right here. What I don't need is any more setbacks. I feel like I've got plenty of those lately. Anytime that I fly somewhere, I always feel like I'm all puffy for a good like 48, 72 hours afterwards. It's probably a combination of eating out, extra sodium, and flying 5 hours. Probably didn't help either too. Throwing off the time zone. This week will be a really good judge like of where we're back at. I think I mentioned before that anytime I travel and fall off for a few days like that, it's like taking a whole week back. So I feel the physique where we're at right now, we were better just 2 weeks ago. So trying to get back to that, get back on track. Doesn't take much, I swear. We did get one workout in. It was a really, really easy workout at the hotel, but I at least did something. Those 3. 2 more. 2 more good working sets. Probably stay right there. It's a good weight. I have been tracking steps too. I should go over what my average was. I've actually been really surprised by the steps that it said I've been doing. Katrina makes fun of me. She thinks that I talk with my hands, and so the Oura Ring registers way more steps than what I actually take. I thought I was closer to like 5,000 steps a day, but according to the Oura Ring, I've been averaging a lot more than that. It's updating right now. Of course, Disney World was a exception to the rule. Walking around airports, that's going to be high. But I've had some days where 16,000 steps, 12,000. I think even a high was like 19,000. So that'll be interesting. What we're going to do is whatever the average was last week, when I go in these little mini cuts, is I'll try and increase steps by 2,000 steps a day, in addition to the slight calorie decrease, just to create a larger calorie deficit through activity. I don't want to do anything intense. I don't want to send an endurance signal to the body, but I do want to create more movement. That'll be one of the ways that we do it. Let's see what this says when it updates. All right. One more. All right. So, so lowest has been 6,800. High is 19,000. Looks like I'm fluctuating between, that's one peak at 9.6, another one at 15.16. Looks like I'm averaging, I'll do the math later, but looks like I'm averaging around 11,000 steps. It was better than I thought, for sure. So what I'll try and do, since I'm averaging 11, I'll try and get between 13 to 15 a day for this week, while I also keep the calories somewhere between 2,800 and 3,000. So Before that, we were hitting 3,500 calories or so in our what we call mini bulk. Now we'll keep a mini cut around 2,800 to 3,000 while also increasing the steps. If I do this right this week with consistently lifting, I should feel like I start to lean out a little bit. And I'll know by like Friday, Saturday, if we're on track. But I definitely need a couple weeks of dieting at home for sure.
You said your muscle was growing back pretty fast, and your ligaments and tendons weren't.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because like when it's the ligaments, like the strength before, like
no. So if you were building muscle at a normal rate, so a person who's just started lifting and they, you build, the average person is not putting 18 pounds of muscle on a week like I did. Because I had lost so much, I had this ability to gain so much back so much faster, much like the Colorado experiment that we've talked about, right? The Casey Vider thing. So I had this huge advantage muscle-wise working for me. But unfortunately, ligaments and tendons grow and adapt at a slower rate than muscle does. Muscle can come back much quicker than the strength, elasticity, and growth and adapting to the ligaments and the tendons. So what happened was I just outpaced it too fast and, wasn't doing enough of the work that I need to be doing. I should have been doing more multi-directional stuff, probably more stability stuff involved, not thinking, shame on me, so focused on trying to build as much muscle as I possibly can in the shortest period of time when I should have been totally ecstatic about what we did. And instead of continuing to push the weight, trying to get more and more, should have realized, okay, that was a lot of muscle I put on. Let's make sure we focus on mobility and tendon, ligament health and strength to support all that muscle growth. So they don't grow at a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's not like for every 2 pounds of muscle you build, your tendons and ligaments also are strong enough to support that. In a very slow gradual, they will, because it's a slow process for most people. So what made this so unique was to lose all that muscle and then to put it back on so fast and to not allow that to adapt. This is what happens to a lot of guys when they take a lot of steroids is they build muscle so rapidly that you always hear them getting injured. It's always a ligament or a tendon tear. That's what they tear because they built so much muscle that didn't keep up fast enough to all that growth. So now we're taking TRT, but we weren't taking tons of gear. What happened to us? But same thing though. I mean, no different than the guy who hops on a bunch of steroids, builds 20 pounds of muscle in a short period of time. And that's exactly how they get hurt is same shit. And I should know better. Just didn't even cross my mind. I wasn't thinking about that. I guess I didn't think about that because the weight that I was still training with is still relatively low for me. Like we're pulling 315 right now and we were squatting 275. I've squatted 420. I've pulled 550. So in my head, I'm going, oh, I'm nowhere near my peak strength. So I'm okay. But really not considering, oh, I just came from 20 less pounds of muscle that I've now packed onto my body. And I was only doing 135 in squats. Now, so I'm doing 275 4 weeks. That's a really fast jump. And I should have considered that. So shame on me.
We said earlier, this guy looks like a blend of all three of you guys.
Joe Donnelly? Oh, that's a funny story. That's a real funny story. All right, here we go. That felt good. We'll break that down later. Just keep it easy right now. We'll do some skull crushers and curls. tell you, I know you've seen me do these curls and skull crushers. What I wish I was doing close grip bench and dips more. They just build the triceps so much better. Just compromises the chest and shoulder a little bit right now. So I hate to avoid them. If I was writing a program for the viewer, I'd be doing that right now. You know, one of the things I hope I can prove to the viewer is how much the diet, rest, recovery plays the biggest role. Obviously, good exercise selection and good programming matters, but the amount of effort we put inside here is less important to what we do outside, which is probably why I'm most frustrated. The injury sucks with the pec, the setback in the hips sucks, but so long as we're coming in here and we're touching weights, challenging the body a little bit, progressively overloading, that we're going to be okay in here, so long as the diet is dialed, that I'm hitting the protein intake consistently, I'm staying within my calorie range. Up to this point, it's been pretty easy because there was so much room for improvement in the diet because I was lacking so much protein and not getting what I needed. We've now solved that problem where I don't miss protein right now. I'm pretty dang consistent with getting at least 200 grams, which is doing a good enough job of sustaining the muscle mass that we've already put on, hopefully still building some. But now the next challenge would be to lean out, right? Can I continue to lean out in this process? And considering last week was supposed to be a cut week, it definitely did not serve us being in Florida. So we'll run that back again this week. I predict by next week, Monday, should be feeling the best I've felt yet. I don't feel the best right now, but I think I will by next week. All I need is a real good solid week this week, which we will. Last week we only got three workouts in, and then the hotel workout. What's that old Sal video?
I think it's forearms.
Old YouTube video?
Yeah.
Look at that baby Sal, huh?
Pushes the bar a little bit tighter, which works the grip simultaneously. Now with the reverse.
You know if he got his body fat set up? I guess him at he's single digits for sure. If I had to guess, he's probably 9'8" last time I seen him. He stays pretty lean right now. Oh. You know, that's another thing too about the traveling like we just did. So I like where my physique is at right now at 12%. It's not impressive, but it's a place where typically I feel happiest. And part of that is I feel like I have muscle definition. I look like I work out. I'm healthy. I'm relatively strong. I'm also at a body fat percentage at 12%. It's really easy for me to have a week where I travel like that, kind of fall off the wagon for a few days, come back, and then be right back to where I was. When you get down to 7, 8, 9% body fat, you have one of those days. There's less. You got to understand that when you're that lean, you have very little fat mass on you, and so only a few pounds. You add 2 or 3 pounds of fat, and it dramatically shifts your body fat percentage. So it doesn't take much to fall off, and it's hard to sustain staying that lean. So in that 10 to 12% range, I find I'm the most happiest as far as my balance of health and life and so that. So where we're already at is where I typically would be like, okay, this is a cool place to kind of maintain. And I'd say for most of my training careers, this is about where I would keep myself. But obviously we're on a mission to do more right now. All right, boys, we're back. Day one, again. So by end of week, we should be feeling good again. That's the goal.